We had a photograph of Padre Pio in our living room. My mother hung it there in 1985. It was just a picture, nothing special, until the night my father had a heart attack. I was 16 years old. I watched him collapse on the floor. I thought he was dead. And then my mother screamed, not because of my father, because of the photograph. There were tears coming from his eyes, real tears, running down the glass. My father survived that night. The doctors said it was impossible, but we knew who saved him. My name is Lucia Benedetti. I was born in Naples, Italy, in 1974. I grew up in a small apartment in a working-class neighborhood. My father, Antonio, worked at the shipyard. 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. His hands were rough like sandpaper. My mother, Rosa, cleaned houses for wealthy families. We didn't have much money, but we had love, and we had faith. My mother was deeply religious. She went to Mass every Sunday. She prayed the rosary every night. She had pictures of saints all over our apartment. The Virgin Mary in the bedroom, Saint Anthony in the kitchen, and Padre Pio in the living room. I remember when she brought that photograph home. It was 1985. I was 11 years old. She had gone on a pilgrimage to San Giovanni Rotondo to visit the tomb of Padre Pio. She came back with tears in her eyes and a photograph in her hands. "This is Padre Pio," she told me. "He was a holy man, a saint. He died before you were born, but he still watches over us." I looked at the photograph, an old priest with a beard, kind eyes, wounded hands, nothing special to an 11-year-old girl, but my mother treated it like it was sacred. She hung the photograph in the living room, above the sofa, where everyone could see it. Every night before bed, she would stand before it, cross herself, and whisper a prayer. My father was different. He believed in God, but he wasn't like my mother. He didn't pray every day. He was a practical man. He believed in hard work and honesty. That was his religion. Years passed. I grew up. The photograph stayed on the wall. I stopped noticing it. It was just part of the furniture. I never thought about it until that night in 1990. It was October, a cold, rainy evening. I was 16 years old. I was in my room doing homework. My mother was in the kitchen cooking dinner. My father had just come home from work. He was tired. He always was. I heard him sit down on the sofa. I heard him turn on the television. Everything was normal. And then I heard a sound I will never forget, a crash, and my mother screaming. I ran to the living room, and I saw my father on the floor, face down, not moving. My mother was kneeling beside him, shaking him. "Antonio, Antonio, wake up!" But he didn't wake up. His face was gray. His lips were blue. He wasn't breathing. I froze. I couldn't move. My father was dying right in front of me, and there was nothing I could do. My mother screamed for me to call an ambulance. I ran to the phone. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely dial. I gave them our address. They said they would come, but I knew it would take time. I ran back to the living room. My mother was pressing on his chest, breathing into his mouth, things she had seen on television. But it wasn't working. My father was still gray, still not breathing. And then my mother stopped. She looked up, not at me, at the wall, at the photograph, and she screamed again, "Lucia, look!" I looked at the photograph, and my blood turned cold. There were tears on his face, on the photograph, Padre Pio's face. Tears were running down from his eyes, real, wet tears, sliding down the glass, dripping onto the frame. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. A photograph can't cry. It's paper, it's ink, it's not alive. But there they were, tears, clear and wet, falling from the eyes of a man who had been dead for 22 years. My mother started praying, out loud, desperately. Padre Pio, please, save him. Save my Antonio, she was crying. I was crying, and the photograph was crying. I don't know how long we stayed like that. It felt like hours. It was probably minutes, and then something happened. My father gasped, a loud, terrible gasp, like a man coming up from underwater. His body jerked, his eyes opened, he was breathing again. My mother screamed, but this time with joy. She threw herself on him, holding him, crying, "Antonio, Antonio, you're alive!" He looked confused, weak, but alive. He was alive. The ambulance arrived 10 minutes later. They took him to the hospital. The doctors examined him. They said he had suffered a massive heart attack. His heart had stopped for several minutes. By all medical standards, he should be dead, or at least brain damaged. But he was fine, completely fine. The doctor pulled my mother aside. "Signora Benedetti, I don't understand. Your husband's heart stopped for at least 5 minutes. He should have severe brain damage. But his brain is perfect. His heart is beating normally. It's like nothing happened." He paused. "I don't have an explanation. It's a miracle." My mother knew exactly what happened. She told the doctor about the photograph, about the tears. He looked at her like she was crazy. But she didn't care. She knew the truth. When we got home, the photograph was still there, on the wall. But the tears were gone. The glass was dry, as if nothing had happened. But we knew what we saw. The photograph had cried, and my father had lived. My father changed after that night. He started going to Mass with my mother every Sunday. He started praying. He started talking to Padre Pio, thanking him every night before bed. He never fully understood what happened. None of us did, but he knew he should be dead, and he knew something saved him, something beyond medicine, something beyond science. I told a few friends about what happened. Most of them didn't believe me. They said it was condensation, humidity, a trick of the light. I understood their doubts, but I saw it. My mother saw it. We both saw the tears, real tears, falling from a photograph. My father lived for another 25 years. He died in 2015, peacefully, in his sleep, at the age of 82. 25 years he shouldn't have had. 25 years of watching his grandchildren grow, because of one night, because of one photograph, because of tears that couldn't exist, but did. The photograph still hangs in my mother's apartment. She's 92 years old now. She still prays to it every night. She still thanks Padre Pio for saving her husband. In 2002, Padre Pio was declared a saint officially by the Catholic Church. My mother cried when she heard the news. "I always knew," she said. "He saved Antonio. He cried for us." I'm 51 years old now. I have children of my own. I've told them this story many times. They don't know what to believe. They're modern, rational, skeptical, just like I was at their age. But I know what I saw. People ask me if I believe in miracles. I tell them I didn't, not before that night. Miracles were fairy tales, but I saw a photograph cry. I saw my dead father come back to life, and now I believe. I don't ask anyone to believe my story. I know how it sounds, crazy, impossible, but I was there. I saw the tears. I saw my father die and come back, and I know that Padre Pio saved him from beyond the grave, 22 years after his death. The photograph is just paper and ink. But that night, it wasn't. That night, it was a window to something we can't understand, and through that window, a saint reached out and saved my father's life. My name is Lucia Benedetti. I was 16 when I watched my father die. I was 16 when I saw a photograph cry. I was 16 when I witnessed a miracle, and I will never forget it, not as long as I live. This story is inspired by numerous documented testimonies of individuals who reported supernatural phenomena associated with images of Padre Pio, including weeping photographs. Padre Pio died in 1968 and was canonized as a saint by the Catholic Church in 2002.